You're currently looking at President Joe Biden's job approval rating since January of 2021. I see a trend there. The president's current rating is 37%, an all-time low.
And in a hypothetical 2024 Democratic primary poll, Robert Kennedy Jr. has 21% of the vote. Joining us right now to discuss, Ambassador for America First Policy Institute, Jessie Jane Duff, and Senior Lecturer for African American Studies at the University of Maryland, Nichols. Jessie, your thoughts about this? Is this a real thing that RFK Jr. could pose a threat?
I think he's presenting an option to Democrats, and nobody likes being told that they don't have any options. And when the Democratic Party came out and said that they wouldn't be conducting debates, I think that's an insult to all of the voters that want to know that the elections are in their hands and not a political party's hands. I think everyone is offended as an American when they're told that they don't have options. So honestly, we've seen the poll numbers. We know that Joe Biden is struggling even with Democrats. It's just not conservatives. And I do think that he's going to put a dent in it. Will Joe Biden still probably take it? Yes. However, I like seeing that there's some competition out there and there are people that are willing to risk it all and come forward and say, look, I have other ideas than what is going on with the establishment right now.
Jason, do you think the fact that RFK Jr. is showing signs of life could potentially open the race wider on the Democrat side for other people to step forward?
I don't think so. A lot of the big name Democrats have pretty much made it clear that they're behind Joe Biden. All of the people that have a following, particularly amongst reliable Democratic voters, seem to be behind Joe Biden. They're going to wait until Joe Biden is no longer in office and no longer running for president. So I think it's going to be pretty clear there. I would say on the debate issue, I would remind people that in 2020, Bill Weld, Joe Walsh, and Mark Sanford all tried to run for the Republican nomination. And the GOP held no debates because it's not a strategically smart thing to do to weaken an incumbent candidate by having a rough primary and giving having debates, particularly when it's a foregone conclusion that that candidate is going to win. Okay. So I think Joe Biden's not going to, the DNC is not going to have debates, just like the RNC didn't have debates for those three candidates who challenged Donald Trump.
Jessie, let me ask you about this. It seems to me that what Mr. Biden has going for him is this only one argument, and that is he supposedly is the one who can beat Donald Trump. How, and if he were to lose that argument, does that change the landscape for those that may challenge him?
Of course, it's going to change the landscape. A lot of things have happened since he was elected in 2020. For example, the scandals that have gone on with the Biden family, with all of the foreign banking transactions that have occurred with our adversaries, for goodness sake. We've gotten the records from the Department of Treasury. All of these records were flagged, and 9 Biden family members and counting have something to be that have to answer to something. He didn't help the economy, and he didn't unify the country. In fact, everything seems to have gotten worse on the when it comes to the economy. And for most people, they vote with their wallets. So Joe Biden's going to be challenged. And yes, maybe the RNC didn't allow debates with the incumbent of Donald Trump, but this still does invigorate those that don't like to be told who they will elect for, regardless of political party. So, Kennedy, not being able to debate Joe Biden, I don't think it would have been a hard debate. I think he can stand on his own 2 feet, and he'll probably just need to ensure that he gets the exposure that he needs from the media. And we know the left-wing media is probably not going to give him much of that.
Jason, what does President Biden have to do to boost those approval ratings?
Well, I think one of the things that he has to do is actually get out there and start speaking to people. I don't think he needs to hold big rallies or anything of that sort, but he certainly needs to do what he started to do: go into the union halls, go to small Black organizations, go and get to the base behind him. And again, make the argument about some of the effective policy that he's gotten through. The fact that he's been very effective, whether you agree or disagree with what he's actually done, he's actually gotten a lot of policy through and in the face of, serious opposition. So I think that is an argument that he will make. And I think, there's certainly some economic statistics that I think can certainly back Joe Biden, particularly amongst his base.
Fair enough. Jessie Jane Duff, Jason Nichols, thank you so much.